start. Major developments have happened where we originally were going to do the session online. We will be headed there in person since the person that we were worried that was going to have it potentially is confirmed not to have it. So he tested negative for the C word and the C disease, and I'm feeling a lot better today. So now that my allergies aren't acting up, and he is, yeah, he's clear. We're going to be doing the session in person, but that's not going to stop the prep that we need to make for the session. There's several things we need to go over since we're done with chapter 1. I've given them everything necessary, and we're done with the whole. Let's show you how fucking how much they did not really prep, or they didn't really give you, if we were running from the base book, how iffy the Icewind Dale book is. We're done with that. See, this is how I would improve chapter 1. At least, at minimum, when we start off the adventure, regardless, you are level 2.
Huh? Why?
No level 1 shit.
But why though?
At minimum, level 2. What I would recommend is starting the adventure at level 3.
You be too OP though. Caleb.
No, you would be at the level you probably need to be for the encounters they give you at level 1. Not even really though. But that's being fair. Level 3 is being fair.
Yeah.
If I was being like actual like what should happen given these encounters, level 4 is how they should fucking start. But if you want to feel like you're giving them a reward system, you start off with level 2 or 3, and then give them 4, and then let them know right afterwards, hey man, if you want to level up, this is what I would do. If you guys don't do that, that's fine. That is up to you. Run the book. If you want to go past level 4, you need to not be here anymore. But if you want to help 10 towns, and you want to consistently help 10 towns, let's go to level 4. But what I would do is I would at least give them level 5. Because Icewind Dale is not nice, it's brutal, it's not kind. Prep necessary is, it's iffy. There's like 10 different locations that's necessary for us to look at when we're looking at chapter 2. But that's how I would improve chapter 1. None of this level 1 shit, none of this level 2 shit. Level 3 or level 4, those are the only two options in level if you're looking to improve it. Done with chapter 1. Chapter 1 was shit, and I'm sure people will try to fucking change my mind on that. Feel free. You probably aren't going to do it. I think that it was a good idea, but other than that, that's my opinion. It's a good idea, it's a good concept, and it's great for role playing. But when it comes to actually running the encounters in the adventure itself, it's not balanced, and it's heavily heavily weighed against your players. Now, if you're okay with that, feel free to run it that way. And it does a good job at expressing how fucking cruel Icewind Dale is if you're looking at it from an encounter perspective. Cool, I get that. But as a DM, it does not make me feel good to consistently go like, bam, 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 bam. Even though I am failing saves with so many different creatures and they should be doing well in an encounter, all I have to do is pass a couple of different things and then one ability comes and they're just down because of the amount of AoE and the amount of pressure that these enemies that they have given them are able to dish out to the players themselves. So after chapter 1, what do you think? How do you think you could improve chapter 1?
I think what they wanted to do versus what actually happened failed.
Let me get some music going. I'm listening now.
They passed off too many, adventures to too many people, taking into consideration, of course, the rules. But the players don't know the rules. and the DMs aren't really just going to tell them, because what's the point of breaking immersion in a game where you're supposed to be immersed? What they were going for was gritty. What they ended up doing was Tomb of Annihilations. It's the player killer. If run properly and just by the book, it's a player killer.
Yeah, it's not kind to the players. It's D&D on expert mode. It's the same thing with Tomb of Annihilation.
I really don't see why most of these monsters just go into town and TPK the whole town. If they're all that strong to take down a couple of adventurers, and they slowly whittle away at the normal townsfolk, they would just eventually kill them.
Are you talking about like last session?
No, I mean, I'm talking about like in general.
Yeah,
If all the monsters that we fought in like collectively just started overrunning all the towns, they might as well just take over.
Oriole can easily take over. It's not hard. It's just she's just wandering. If the god wasn't just, or the demigod, I should say, it's not a god, it's a demigod. It wasn't just wandering around in pain and suffering the entire time. She could easily just take over, but apparently she's suffering or some shit like that.
What they should have done was just do more survival-esque things.
Yeah.
Such as being caught in the blizzard and being knocked off track. Now, if that was a part of the rule set, it would make more sense. Like, you would lose course and stray off somewhere else, probably to another town that you weren't really trying to go to.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Survivability, you have to hunt all the time. You have to make sure you find shelter. If no one clearly has access to Lehman's Tiny Hut, I mean, it's even better. On top of that, there could have been so many things where you're always keeping track of your resources. Resources are limited already in the game, so it would make sense for it to be a resource managing type of campaign versus just, I throw a lot of monsters at you and they eventually obliterate you.
Mm-hmm.
It should be more like you're battling against the weather and the natural phenomenons that could possibly occur. There weren't any real natural phenomenons, clearly, aside from the blizzard.
There was, but that's where I'm going to go with the actual best quest, which we originally, if you like look at our first prep session, we were looking at these quests, these 10 quests, and we were just like, oh, it sounds like Targos is the most pain in the ass quest. But after running pretty much all the quests, Targos happened to be probably the most efficient at getting the point through what Icewind Dale was. The avalanche was probably, like, I think the most key scary moment for everyone when they were climbing the mountain and the avalanche came, because goddamn, an avalanche is an actual something that they haven't dealt with before. It's new, it's environmental, it's something that is scary. When you introduce something in a campaign setting that your players aren't used to, and it scares them, that's good. And it's something natural. A fucking avalanche.
Oh yeah, no,
it's simple.
It's a simple thing that's deadly IRL and even deadly in game, because you could be buried and eventually die.
I agree. It's that's the scary part.
Yeah.
Like there's literally mechanics that they've introduced in this campaign.
But
if everyone got
introduced was frostbite,
that would be
and
really
the possible loss of a body part.
I mean, it's funny because like they mentioned the dwarves in Brynnshander, like one of the ladies like lost her fingers and shit.
Yeah, it would
like
make
it makes sense, but there's no actual mechanic for it.
Exactly. I feel like if they introduced the blizzard mechanic and the avalanche mechanic and freezing in cold water mechanic, I feel like frostbite would probably be the first thing that I would think of.
I agree.
It would just make the most sense, especially like during the avalanche parts. Avalanche plus frostbite. You stack those on. If they survive, they could possibly lose something. Then that would make it more detrimental. That would make it more gritty. That would make it feel like we have to be careful at all times.
Agreed. It's one of those things where it's like, I like the concept that they put in some of these adventures. Like, let's say that we mix a match, right? Let's put the blizzard that they put in the way onto Caer-Dineval when you were on your way to the Duragars at the first part. That blizzard played a key point in that encounter with that Cold Walker.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys, because literally you're doing everything at disadvantage because of the blizzard. Normally, that Cold Walker wouldn't really be as much of a problem. That Cold Walker killed someone because of the blizzard.
Yeah.
It was the blizzard that really killed them. The enemy happened to be in the fucking way. But the blizzard really was what killed Joey's character there.
I was able to avert 2 whole Cold Walkers to distract the crap out of them. Mm-hmm. And that is the only thing that really saved everyone else.
Yep, that was it. And what for? You end up dying later via the Caer-Conic. Sorry, it's not Caer-Dineval, Caer-Conic encounter.
Just the encounter, just the encounter by itself.
Okay. I know. Sorry, continue. Yeah. I know we're trying to do chapter 2, right? But I think it's really important for us to go over what we liked about chapter 1 and what we didn't like about chapter 1. We've already discussed what we didn't like about chapter 1.
There's more.
There's a lot.
The Shardarin Berserker.
Oh, it was so good.
The Shardarin Berserker encounter
was great.
It was great because of the level we were at. If you got that level 1,
that's awful.
It's you literally end the campaign there.
I do fucking hate that they that they just vamp you to chapter 2.
And there's no way to get back.
No.
And you're not prepared to be in chapter 2 as a DM.
No.
Already. You're not prepared for that.
No. So
if you're just rolling just based on what, you roll in game. You don't roll before you start the session and prep that. That's not what...
No, it's more fun for the players to roll it, and then they feel like they have control over their fates, because that would make more sense in reality.
Exactly.
For them to have more control over their fates than the DM. The DM just sets up the stuff. They roll. Whatever happens, happens. I also don't really like the whole DM just like, it wasn't me, it was you that killed him. The DM sets things up, and while we joke about that stuff, technically you set up the encounter to potentially kill them. If you are going to do that, I know this is veering off the path, if you are going to set up these encounters, right? And we have set up encounters like that. You set up in a way where it creates either a story dynamic that makes sense, potential ramifications, and you give them options. You don't just go, you rolled that encounter and Taras shows up. Roll for initiative. No. Let's say you did that. It's fucked if you did that, but let's say you did that, right? You got the Taras. Oh no, a Taras shows up. You have option A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Before you say, just roll for initiative and kill your characters, give them options, give them the idea, give them stuff that they can potentially do. You probably have already given them magic items. Give them opportunity to potentially get out of that situation. It's the same thing as when I introduced the whole Chevy bit. When I did the whole Chevy situation, I literally put a prompt in his head. It was a major encounter, and it was his encounter. Something happened in his head. Seth is talking to him, and he gives him 2 options. There's option A, option B. He didn't even go with option A or B. He went with option C, which led to option D, which I wasn't even prepped for, and nobody was. But that made it fun. It made it interesting. And granted, did it end up in somebody's death? Yeah, but it could have not. It could have easily ended up in multiple different ways because of the way the scenario was presented. So even in this, let's just say you're doing wilderness encounters in the normal way, and we weren't running it by the book like we did in chapter 1. We would be doing it by how we normally do things. We present a scenario, give them options, and don't just immediately put them into combat. That's what I feel like people do all the fucking time. They immediately put people into combat.
I mean, in this book in particular, it's like something sees you
and tries to kill you.
and then it's just like murder.
Caer-Dineval was an insane example of that. I loved the unseen quest, but I hated it at the same time. I love the idea of the unseen quest, going into a Duergar hold and having to infiltrate and figure out what's going on in order to get this stolen material back and bring it back to the town of Caer-Dineval. I don't like how they decided to do it. The Duergar themselves allow them to roleplay by the book saying every time if your cover is blown, the Duergar attack. It doesn't allow for players to potentially get out of the situation.
And once again, like I was saying before, like when it happened,
Yeah.
I was saying, what if the player is playing a Duergar in a Duergar fortress, and they're like, "Oh, you're a Duergar I do not recognize." Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Kill him.
Pretty
because
much.
He can't be a Duergar that I know that just got recruited recently. He has to be an intruder. Fill him with lead.
And not only that, in that same other thing, there was the fucking ogre zombie, which, looking at the ogre zombie itself, you would think, okay, it's just a mindless thrall, because that's what zombies are. They're mindless. They will just bite whatever they fucking want to bite,
Yeah.
and then they just go into it. That's just a zombie concept. There's no alliances there. Zombies don't have alliances. That's why it doesn't make sense when they're just like, hey, you're free to go, and then I'm forced to go. It attacks you regardless because, according to the book, it always fights on the Duergar side.
So, but then what if, once again, the character is a Duergar? It doesn't recognize this particular Duergar even though it has 0 intelligence. Rules as written.
Rules as written.
I don't think that this thing would actually be able to discern what is a Duergar and what is a piece of meat.
I don't think so either.
But somehow this Duergar in particular, they don't give it a storyline reason. Like I had a Duergar, an ogre zombie that was being controlled by an undead.
Mm-hmm.
Like as its actual literal thrall, giving it the capability of even speech and everything and increasing its intelligence,
Yeah.
which then made it make sense that it can make its own decisions.
Right. This is what we're going to do since we're talking about this, right? Since we have kind of gone on a tangent, and I like the tangent that we've gone on, we're going to go and we're going to make 2 stuff out of this. We're going to go by each one that we did and give our opinions on whether we liked it and what we don't like about it. And then once we're done with that, it shouldn't take long. We like talking about this anyway. We'll just pop off to chapter 2, and I know there's a couple of quests that I have in mind potentially. But we're still going to be looking at majority of them, and then after that, we'll probably be heading over there. So, without further ado, let's go and start with Bremen. Do you want to pop it up on your screen too? Is that what you're doing? Okay, so in Bremen, Bremen's kind of like our star town, pretty much. Mostly because Chris's character Yarvel has survived through this whole encounter of chapter 1. And he's pretty much been able to secure his alliances with some of the 10 towns that weren't originally there for Bremen.
Yeah,
So,
there was talk that he's secretly working with the DM to plot everyone else's death. But I don't know, I just... Yeah.
that was just
I
talk.
don't know.
That was just fucking
Yeah,
talk.
that was just talk,
That
Who
was just
knows
fucking
if that's
talk.
real or true, what I'm
It
saying?
wasn't the fact that he literally chose Blur, which is probably one of the most efficient spells for this campaign setting.
No, it's not that. You guys are plotting against everyone else.
Yeah, that's not what it is.
Yeah. It's okay.
By the way, guys, if you have an option to take Blur, take Blur. God damn, it has fucked me so often as a DM in this campaign, and it's beautiful.
Are you sure?
Like, legitimately, he has frustrated the shit out of my Duergar so
Are you sure?
often, and it's great. It's great. He's pulled up Bremen. So Bremen's quest was the lake monster. So the lake monster was the Plesiosaurus.
Yeah.
The awakened Plesiosaurus.
Plesiosaurus.
Really good quest. I actually enjoyed this quest. It actually allowed for roleplay.
Yeah, it did.
And that showed off by what Prince did. all we had to do, it didn't even take long to get there. It was on the lake, and the lake is literally pretty much right there. A couple hours out, and then you're dealing with this plesiosaur. It's a little atmospheric. We're all in the ocean. That's how it's pretty much, not ocean, the lake, trying to get some fish. And as we're fishing, the plesiosaur makes its presence, and after the presence, it awakens, and they give you options. That's what you need. It's really not that hard for Dungeons and Dragons, as long as you give your players options. And with this quest, they give you fucking options, that's all you really need. You present a scenario, and you allow them options. You just give them the opportunity to breathe and think. Once you give them that, your players should be able to thrive.
I mean, albeit the Plesiosaurus isn't like the strongest thing ever, but it's the water that was really the danger in the scenario if a fight occurred. So if anything, the Plesiosaurus drags one of the players down. No one is going to really be playing an aquatic creature in a ice campaign, because I wouldn't be able to really honestly look at you and say that your creature could survive very easily.
No.
If you were an aquatic creature in a blizzard in Antarctica, I would have a very hard ruling on that.
That's debatable.
It's very much debatable, but we're not talking about that. We're just talking about the fact that this thing can drag your players on the water and suffocate them to death. And yeah, also the fact that I don't know, it can breathe underwater. Your players can't, and there's also freezing water rules as well. So I mean, yeah, with all of that, it's likely that their doom is going to be met. So they avoided that.
Woohoo! Exactly. And literally all it came to was roleplay. And to me, if you allow for roleplay instead of just encounters, you got a good quest. I think that was actually a really well done quest.
Really well done. I like it. And of course, and on top of that, it linked to another quest that we will be talking about later on as well.
Yeah, it's probably going to be the last one. Even though it was the first one we did.
I know. Mm-hmm.
Bryn Shandor. We did not do Bryn Shandor because it's not really that relevant.
So we skip.
Yep. So Caer-Dineval. Now, Caer-Dineval was actually one of the more interesting ones. I actually enjoyed this quest in a lot of areas, and then there was some areas that we were just like, it's kind of bizarre. But for the most part, I actually really liked the quest. I like the idea behind it. I like the idea that there's this cult that this is the Asmodeus cult too, right? Because it plays into the Duergar.
Yeah.
They're basically like the sub-cult to the actual cult that are the Duergars, weirdly enough, called the Black Swords. But they pretty much have taken over Caer-Dineval, and it shows in the quest. You basically have two options of walking up and figuring out what's going on at the Caer itself, since they've taken over, and they don't obviously reveal that they're cult members. They allow the people inside potentially, or you fight your way inside.
Interestingly enough, there was actually a whole bunch of Duergar in an inn that they never actually got to fight.
No.
Which is interesting because they never went there.
They never went to the inn.
No.
It was a closed down inn. They didn't mention it. There was only the let me see, what was it called? The tavern. There was only the tavern. The inn, they didn't ask for an inn. They asked for a tavern. They got the tavern.
So they avoided that part completely. So we don't know how that would have turned out. So there's no way I could really say, here or there as far as that goes.
I like the idea behind it. I think it was weak in a lot of parts. This is actually one of the weird cases where, while every other quest felt like it was overbearing and overwhelming, this quest felt like it was, if there was an encounter, right, and you had to do it, you don't have any chance. It's like the character's just gonna walk over you, even if they're level 1. They have a strong chance of just walking over you, which is fine. Even with Kadroth, right? He has his own custom stop.
Yeah.
he's weak as fuck.
Yeah, he is by himself. Yeah,
He
definitely.
isn't. You would think they would have given him a little bit more love, given the fact that you would. This is a unique character, and you're giving him a unique stat block. Unfortunately, that's not what they seem to have done here. They have done.
No, they literally made sure he was a pushover because he wasn't the real threat. It
No.
was the insane cultist.
Yeah, the cultists, which honestly, that was they did their part, but like once their turn was over, no way in hell were they surviving.
But it was amazing. It was an amazing role play experience.
Oh, it was actually one of the best
And
ones.
they infiltrated the place pretending to be cultists.
Yeah, I loved it. That was probably my favorite Louis Lightsword moment that I had when I
And
was
it
playing
just
them.
it made it very intriguing, of
Yeah.
course, just to see that play out. Them to try their hardest. Like, we're sent here. What's the deal, boss?
Yeah, it was
What
fun.
are we doing? What's popping?
I did like the quest. I think it was weak in the areas of that I mentioned, but that's my opinion.
Yeah,
Uh,
of course, you're not wrong in that sense.
But like, I will say it was a welcoming. Given the fact that they were weak, it was welcoming as a DM to see that they weren't overwhelming them for
Yeah.
fucking once.
It was definitely one of those very, for the DM and players, very playful scenario because they all gathered in a courtyard and they were counting the heads of everyone there, and
Yeah.
they gave us an exact number.
Mm.
So I was able to say, well, you know what? There's more.
It was-
like
It
seven
played for
more
it played for
people.
it played more. It was more playful than anything else.
Yeah.
We were having fun, and that's what I think is important.
There's like, there's 7 more people here, but the granny,
Yeah,
the
that was an incredible character.
granny is what made everything just
Mhm.
stand outish. Like,
Yeah,
she
That's
really was able to bring everything together. And it's crazy because
Mhm.
everyone died but the one guy.
yeah.
And so the
This
words
is
that she spoke, that she emanated
were great.
before she died, is now with one character.
No, the furball was
Oh,
there
yeah.
too. So it was 2 characters, but
Yeah. I forgot.
actually, was the angel there too? Was Drake's character there?
I guess so.
So 3 characters lived, but
Yeah.
but like she was right about the death part. There was
Yeah,
death.
no. Yeah.
But like he said, this NPC was really well thought out. She played her part, and talking about the Duragar threat. The Duragar threat was definitely a big hit,
Mhm.
a big hit in Chapter 1, as far as the threat part of it goes. Now, we're about to go over Duragar next, since it's Caer-Dineval. As Caer-Dineval, when we went over and played some Caer-Dineval, let's just say this was a rough one. I think that I've kind of already talked about what I feel about this quest. I feel like it was a good idea, implemented very poorly, and that's it. It's literally just overwhelming combat stats. It just feels like there's too many of them. They say one thing, and then when you look at the outpost locations, there's more, and then there's more, and then there's more, and then there's more monsters. There's like hidden monsters all over this place, and it just feels overwhelming when you are, first of all, DMing it, and then second of all, having to dish this out to your PCs. Brutal quest.
It was the fact that as a player, when I was playing, I was able to sneak into around 3 to 4 rooms, right?
Yeah.
Before successfully scouting all the way back.
Yeah, you were doing
And
fantastic.
relaying the information that I got. All to just have it be like, no one was saying anything of importance.
No, because they don't. There's only one guy that does, and that's Nildar, and that's when he comes in. Nildar is
Yeah.
just Nildar.
The whole time, everyone's just like, yeah, we're just Duragar, and honestly,
There's nothing more to it. The fact that they're just blatantly just, I don't care who you are, I attack. And then the ogre's army being like, I don't care who you are, as long as you're not the Duragar, I will attack you instead. It's weird. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't correlate. Other than that, there's nothing else to this. It's just Duragar.
Yeah.
And I will say this: Caer-Dineval did a great job at presenting the fact that Duergar don't fuck around, bro. Those stats, those fucking stat blocks of Duergar are insane. They're nuts, man.
But one thing I wish that they did with more of these quests is that adding complexity.
Yeah, I agree.
Wish they had more complexity. Like, apparently there was a trap here, though. Did we ever even fall?
Well, you guys didn't even get a chance to get halfway. You only got.
Oh no, we never got here.
You guys only got through 3 rooms.
We fought in the main hall, right?
You guys went through 4 rooms: 1, 4, 3, and 2.
Right? And that's
7, 8, 5, and 6 weren't even explored because they were all fucking going into you at that point.
And it's the thing of like, once we. Okay, say for instance, we took out Duergar in number 1, right? We took out Duergar in number 4, right? We take out Duergar in number 3. It doesn't matter because the travel that you have in part 2, in chamber 2, is always going to be against the players.
Yes.
There's no possible way.
It doesn't matter.
You're going through double doors.
It's just fucked. This whole entire this whole entire quest is just a fuck situation. And I didn't even realize how fucked it was until I started running it and being like, wow, this is some fuck shit. It's not fun. It's not fun for the PCs. It's a teeny bit fun for the DM when you don't know what a Duergar stat block is. But now that I know what a Duergar stat block is, right, it's not fun. I don't feel like that was enjoyable when I look back at it, being like that. I feel like I did the camp. That quest was satisfying for everyone. It wasn't. Unfortunately, it was a good idea, just poorly executed.
So, as far as what looking at the map goes, they say there's a safe path you can travel.
No.
That takes you into the stronghold.
There isn't.
Immediately.
No.
It doesn't even make any sense.
It doesn't.
That's very misleading for the DM as well as, of course, the players, because then the DM is feeding you this information back as a DM and saying, yeah, this is a safe path, you can take this. Oh, you open the door and you just see a Duergar.
Yeah, they seriously just attack though.
Yeah.
All right, we're moving on.
Yeah, we need.
Caer-Dineval, we it's pretty low tier for us.
Duchess, we can skip.
Duchess, we did not do. They didn't have any interest in doing Duchess anyway. So that's just that.
There's the
East Haven. My God, we didn't even get a chance to actually do the quest properly because of the way Veltrixie played it.
Yeah.
The whole mage killings was not even a big thing. It all turned out that the whole big thing, right, was that the mage that they were killing, basically what we are establishing as your father, or if that's what you're calling him, with your character, and Joe's friend is a part of the arcane brotherhood.
Yeah.
So they're bad guys.
Yeah.
So they're not. It just happened to be that they were killing mages. That's it. They were bad mages.
Yeah.
It just happened to be that they were mages, nothing else. So your brains were just like, well, they're just killing mages. They don't like bad guys. But apparently, the guy's a good person. Just it happens to be mages. It's fucking weird. It's not well correlated. It doesn't really make sense. The way that things are executed, as far as just even before you're even getting to the cave area.
Yeah.
It's weird. I will say this. My favorite part of East Haven was the fucking inn. When you go, if you want to look at it too, that's fine. The inn was fantastic. Not the inn, I'm sorry. Yeah, the seance. The seance with Ronaldo. Fantastic NPC to play. Just a bard that just likes to just tell tales, and then for some reason he wanted to do a seance. It made no sense, but with NPCs, does it really have to? No, they're there to start something, and then there you go. The seance was really fun, but the one part I didn't like about it is that literally it says the white lady knows this and will just fucking start spitting this shit out. So the white lady only went into Veltrixie, so Veltrixie is the only one that gets his knowledge, and then because Veltrixie got possessed by it, it goes away, and then she has that knowledge. It just says it fucking spits the knowledge out for no fucking reason. So she knew shit, which played into her advantage. That way she could literally just bolt out. She went to the whole thing, and that's it. That's it. That's it.
And also that now begs the question. I don't know I don't know who wrote this quest in particular, but does that now beg the question that do invisible people see invisible people?
I don't know.
That makes that.
Icewind hurts my brain.
Yes.
Because that's the whole. We can take that all the way back, right? To when we went to what was it? Where were we when that happened? The whole Tourmaline situation, which is another one we'll go around.
Yeah.
The whole Tourmaline situation with the fucking possessed kobold that all of a sudden the ghost goes out and the ghost is just like, I'll go and possess something. Whatever, I don't know. And then the kobold is normal again. How? It was dead previously. It mentioned in the quest that the kobold was just dead. The thing possessed it, and then its original life force went back into it. I really want to know what lore that is in the Forgotten Realms. If there is something there, please let me know, because I don't understand how that makes sense. And by that logic, that's why we played it a few times like that, but just to kind of point out how weird and bizarre it is. Maybe it's Icewind Dale. Who knows? There's no explanation.
There is none. I wish there was, but there is none.
Ghost and Icewind Dale are weird for some reason.
They're OP. They can see invisible things. How? I want to know.
I do too. So, like I said, with this quest, we didn't even get a chance to do it properly because Veltrixie had the knowledge. She already went to the cave, and because we didn't really have much time left, I had to experience things. And if you actually look in the caves,
there's a lot of
monsters.
There's a lot of caves.
There's actually monster stuff.
That would be cool.
It would have been cool to do, but unfortunately we didn't have time to do it, and because of the way the players were playing, they didn't know what the quest was. Because the town didn't do a good job at explaining where to go. So people were just doing random things, which makes sense. Like, that's what, as a player, you just start doing things until something makes sense. You assume the DM is giving you hints, right? So when DMs are saying things or are being forced to say things via a book, you would just think, hey, I'm going to follow what the DM says. So that's why the kobold, that's why your character started examining the fucking leader, because they were talking about the leader the entire time. The book was doing that. Not the DM, the book was. So I'm doing by the book, and he's trying to follow what the book is trying to tell him. So he literally tries to do the quest, what he assumes is the quest. So unfortunately, we waste 2 hours. Not his fault, just how the game played out.
They shouldn't make the main head guy, kill an innocent person or a perceivably innocent person.
He perceives himself as innocent. He made himself look innocent.
They made a perceivably looking innocent person die. And then a perceivingly looking innocent person kill that perceivingly looking innocent. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
An innocent person does not kill an innocent person.
It did. It was our last quest. So if we're talking about us experiencing things, I pretty much took both encounters and put them together. Because, first of all, I had to do that via the way that the game was being role-played. Trixie literally threw the Durgar into the battlefield where they were going to go anyway. And then second of all, she went and grabbed the hag, and the hag was planning on... Hag was given knowledge, and the hag was just like, you know what? Fuck it. If I'm gonna die anyway, might as well go out in a blaze of glory. And that's what the fuck she did. She went out in a blaze of glory because, well, Trixie warned her that the adventurers were probably gonna come and kill her. Yeah. And she's not confident. There's nothing in Maud's stat block or Maud's lore that says she's a confident character. She just has spells. That's it. She likes her treasure. And as soon as someone tries to fuck with her treasure, uh-oh, here I go, I'm going to try and kill you. By the way, if we played that like it should have been played, right? There was, the Frost Giant should not have been as strong as it was. Because the Frost Giant was not strong in the cave. It only attacked after 2 rounds in the cave. But I had to experience it up. And I couldn't think about that part of it, because of the fact that there was just so much going on.
Yeah.
I have like 8 players playing, and then I a couple more enemies to do. And then it led to the freezing stare being fucked with, which I feel bad still because I'm just like, man, everything else was going so well until the freezing stare part, where I accidentally made them all make con saves when I should have made one of them make con saves. Luckily for me, though, it was only one person that failed each time, so it weirdly played out, but it shouldn't probably have played out the way it did. But 95% of it was an insane and cool encounter. East Haven, it was not. It was low tier for me. Once again, a great idea, executed poorly. Personally, we'll move on to Good Mead. We don't have much time to talk about it left.
Yeah.
So they do have the Cauldron of Plenty. They probably just don't know what it is yet. Good Mead. Good Mead is this was actually a decent quest as well. Decent because I say that they just decide to fuck you as well. This is just a hey fuck you quest. Good concept turned to a hey fuck you. So basically the concept here was this is the good part of it. Let's go with the good part first. The good part was electing a new town speaker. The game gives you an opportunity to become a speaker of the town. Or if none of you do, they have NPCs that you could place in that position and then help along with the election. This was one of the most fun things I think we had in the entire campaign. All of us loved it. There was not one person that wasn't invested in having fun. And when because of the character initiative thing, where we're just playing a whole bunch of different characters, until chapter 2, when we actually play today, we're going to have these characters concrete, and these are the characters we're going to be playing. Be it the character initiative, he was playing a tiefling, and the tiefling he played ended up winning that election, and everyone just had a fun time being a part of it, and it was a great part. That was actually probably the most. That was what makes Good Mead, in my opinion, one of the best towns because of that.
But of course, why would I not win?
The quest itself, though, the Verbeegs, concept, great. Verbeegs. There's one that loves another, so they're just doing little small gifts for each other. So it's kind of cute in that way. But the gifts are taking from Good Mead and basically giving it to themselves. That's it. And then when they actually go there and confront the Verbeeg, which is pretty much right here in V9, there's creatures in V7, and there's a creature in V3 that is going to literally sandwich them, so they're stuck right when they meet the fucking Verbeeg. So it's just between the Cave Bear, the Verbeeg, and what else was there? There was another thing, right? There's 3.
Ogre.
The Ogre. And then the other Verbeeg that comes in. It was just you know what? This wasn't originally going to be a fuck you quest, but hey, fuck you. That's legit where it turned into.
Yeah.
And everything was just going so well with this town. It was going to be one of my favorites until that part. Until the encounter. The encounter, well, when you look at it, like when you look at our VODs or like our past playthroughs, or if you look at the videos that we have done when we do these quests, and you picture them, right? It is cool. I'm not going to deny that, like, if you picture it in your mind, that entire fight, it's cool. But that doesn't take away from the stress and the unnecessary areas that they put these creatures in. You didn't have to sandwich them. You could have at least given them a little bit more room, like in a cave or something like that, or maybe just put them all in the same area. I understand what you're trying to do, and the concept there is okay, but if you ask me, you should have just kept the monsters in there, and then the Verbeeg was going to call them anyway, right? They'll eventually find their ways, and maybe they wouldn't find their ways immediately. Who knows? There's several different ways I would have adjusted it to make it a little better. But to be honest, that quest wasn't bad. It just was okay. It was okay.
It was decent. It wasn't the hardest quest they had to throw out there as far as the potential for it being difficult. Luckily, the round they had rounds where it took X amount of rounds for anything to come and actually smush you. So I guess that was a decent part on there. And but then getting the rewards that you guys get
Push on.
fucked you over due to the fact that the Pearl Power and the +1 Wand of War Mage staff gives you a curse that you can't benefit from any rests. I mean, long rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean,
We're not
literally-
even mentioning like half of the shit that.
I mean, that was a real like big thing. I mean, you kind of didn't benefit from a long rest if you took something.
Nope.
I mean, you're going to, right? Because there's something that interests you as a player, and you touch it.
It's something new, something fresh. It's a noob trap.
It's not even a new trap. It's things that they need because they don't give out many magic items.
True.
So you have to take whatever you get, and you get a Pearl Power and +1 Mana, but you can't even rest.
Nope.
And they don't really have potions in this game.
It's just brutal.
Yeah.
Lonelywood is next, and this is where we actually started. So we, the only character that made it out was this was nuts, dude. You ran this one, but this was nuts. I will say this. I love this quest.
No, definitely.
I love the idea. I love where they went with this quest, and you'll see why. Lonelywood is actually a good. It's a rather good town. I like it. I like the leader. She's just a halfling, but they just present her as a nice halfling. You'll soon realize nice characters in Icewind Dale are refreshing.
What?
It's nice to have good characters here for once because most people are just crude.
But why?
I like the leader. The tavern was really fun. And then the White Moose quest. It was all about an awakened moose. The best part about it was the moose wasn't the base part of the quest.
Yep.
It was the person who was making the moose alive. And this was the druid that has been going around awakening all these creatures that one appear in the Bremen quest, which is the Plesiosaurus. That was one of them. And then there's several more that they didn't even get to explore, which is fine because they don't really need to.
But once again, keeping the fact that it was awakened definitely helps the case of an animal being able to convey something without just being one shot.
I like that they also had no other town had their own encounters. These had encounters.
Yeah. And luckily they got the Chingawas for.
Yeah.
But
The Fox in here wasn't bad too. It's just weird.
Yeah.
They were just making a weird Disney reference.
Yeah.
That's all that encounter was. But other than that, I like that they had their own little encounter chart.
Yeah.
The tomb itself was very interesting.
Though I did find the puzzle to get inside very confusing as a DM.
It was a little bit.
Yeah.
It was a very confusing puzzle.
It really was.
It felt monotonous, and that's bad when you feel like it's monotonous.
Because gaze upon your own face and have 7 questions answered. That's a lot of questions just for the mirror to show you something. That's a lot of sitting there. And also, no one's going to have Moonbeam. It's a 2nd level spell. You're a 1st level caster. You're not going to have Moonbeam. And so I kind of feel like that was cheap.
Just why?
And what is a gnome?
That is just a spelling error.
But they did it twice. Ganmon? Because what do we...
A projecting piece of a sundial that shows the time by the position of its shadow. So it's weirdly an actual term. I didn't know that. So it's part of a sundial.
I mean, I thought it was, but
I don't know.
who would ever think that?
So they gave Ravison her own stat block, and my God, it's just brutal.
Yep.
We're just lucky that we made it out alive, and that's it. That's all we got to say about this. It's just a brutal quest at the end.
Also, I did like the interesting thing with the Blazer that had the what do you call it? My brain is trying to think. Oh yeah, Sunbrazer had the summoning of the mummy, which they knew was going to help the players out with the fight. So that was definitely something that was, of course, necessary, but something that could have been not even known of. So I definitely found it interesting, and also there was a little mini thing in order to get behind the barrier. Protecting the place as well was also another interesting little tidbit that they had thrown into there. Once again, the fight with Frost Druid was, she had a lot to actually dish out to the players, because she was an overpowered druid basically with infinite wild shape. Now that's pretty much that. Infinite wild shaping druid. There goes.
Okay. And also, it probably led up to the most intense moment of the entire thing. That whole lonely, that whole ending part was insanely tense. Targos. I'm gonna say it right now. As far as quest wise, town wise is a different story. Quest wise, this is the best quest out of all the 10 towns.
Quest, yeah.
Just the mountain climb itself is what we're gonna go over. The mountain climb, being able to go, having the dog. First of all, the quest idea it's simple, but it's good. Guy's husband is lost, has not been gone, has been lost in the mountain for a while. Hasn't come back. He doesn't know that he's in the mountain, so he asks players to go and try and find his husband. So Boy, who is the guy's like personal dog, pretty much.
We never came across the husband though, but that's how it's run.
Yeah, that's how it's run. We actually never knew. Yeah, they didn't even come across the guy, did they?
No.
No. They came across the dog because it was rather convenient for them. It was a lot easier for that. They came across the dog, and then it led up to Garrett. And then Garrett was, they had to deal with an avalanche. And just the avalanche itself was the reason why I feel like it's the best quest. Because from what we mentioned before, the environment and the cruelness of Icewind Dale is what should be focused on. How horrible Oriel has made this place is what this campaign setting should be focusing on. The blizzards, the avalanches, and everything else that could potentially come from it. And Avalanche was nuts. It was crazy. Everyone knew what they were getting into. Some just went into the snow knowing that their inevitable doom was coming. It was just crazy. It was nuts. And then after that, they're dealing with the Yetis. It's really funny too, the way that you just like killed the baby Yeti without any mercy. One of the characters and Table Stories playthrough did the same fucking thing.
They're literally
they're hurting someone.
They're brutalizing this character.
They're brutalizing this little halfling.
How long she's been there starving.
Yeah, they're brutalizing this fucking halfling, this poor little baby.
Like, who knows how long this character's just been sitting there getting beat up.
Yeah, and
while the other ones are dead.
and while the baby Yeti is innocent, because technically it is, it's still doing something fucked up. It could potentially kill her. So.
Yeah, she has 3 levels of exhaustion when you find her.
Yeah.
She's not fit to be here in this condition.
It's just a sad quest, but I think the sad tone and the amazing atmosphere that this quest gives between the killing of the Yeti kid. While yes, we all know it's necessary. Yes, it's necessary to save this halfling. It's still not easy to fucking see it happen. And then the rage of a mother. Granted, the Yeti was doing fucked up things. They're Yetis. But it's like one of those small instincts, or like the small things you can recognize that is close to a human being's reaction to watching their child die. it's still sad to a small degree because they're, and then the unadulterated rage it goes into.
Yeah, yeah. No,
It's just pure unadulterated vengeance, and it feels
and
justified.
It makes sense. Yes,
It's
definitely
justified
makes sense.
in the Yeti's eyes. It's a kid. It's their kid that just died in front of them. And then we got another Yeti. And then the encounter itself really wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
It was actually really balanced, weirdly enough. One of the few balanced ones. And not only that, Targos is the Goliath and the Tiefling were dead, and they had pictures, vivid pictures, that that were shown of them dead.
Tiefling?
The Tiefling was I think the vivid picture, but she's literally frozen to death here, at the top. She can't move. Her body is motionless. She's dead, and it's just sad. But that's the whole point. The whole point of these quests should be to express how
cruel this world has turned into.
Yeah, how cruel and sad this part of the Dungeons and Dragons universe is.
But then I still have to go back to the fact that Speaker burns person alive and goes to bed like nothing happens. Players aren't supposed to react to that. There's no justification for what happened, and there's no quest from it. It's just,
it's a thing that happens.
Someone die, and you just go with it.
It's yin and yang. It's yin and yang, if we're being honest.
I feel like they should have even not done that.
Well, it's the thing of, right, the whole burning the wizard. You just assume. Let's take everything else apart from it. Let's take the speaker apart from it. Let's take everything else apart of it. They're burning the wizard. You would just assume the wizard is the main quest. Right?
Yes.
That's the thing. They mention the wizard. You would automatically assume the wizard's the main quest. Nope, it's the hag. How do we go to that conclusion? You have to go ring-a-mo all around town until you hit one specific ass NPC, and that one specific ass NPC tells you about the hag, and then you go there. So you waste hours trying to figure out what the fuck's happening here until you go to the hag.
In the seance,
you don't know.
Literally, you just skip quest. Skip quest. Skip quest.
It's literally that, or it's literally this too. Not even the rumors going around mention the hag.
No.
They mention the wizard being burnt. It still is just the key thing that they're talking about the wizard.
It's still just distracting you for no apparent reason.
You would
it's horrible.
I just don't like it. I think that they ruined a good concept.
Yeah, they did.
Very early.
They really
Termaline. Actually a good quest. I don't mind this one. It wasn't great by any means. Via how the ending goes, I still have a fucking issue with that. You guys already know about that one. But the mine itself, I think they did a great job. I think the kobolds, I think this was a balanced quest. It gave, once again, the key thing, when you're giving people encounters, you give them options. The option was, when they eventually got through everything that was inside the cave, which we'll get into in a second, the kobolds talk to you, and basically you have the option of getting a chance to talk to the kobolds and being like, hey, you're fine, let's go. They give you an option to not just fight them.
Yep.
That's all you need. It's not complicated. Quests aren't complicated. All you need to do is give your characters at least, at minimum, one extra option other than fighting.
No, kill everything.
Exactly. As long as you give them that, I actually really don't mind most quests. I think as long as you have options, regardless of the design of it, sometimes the design's really stupid, I don't mind them. And I think this was a good idea, and it was executed actually pretty well. There was the whole, what was that little mind fucker thing? The thing that sucked your brain? Some shit.
The Grell?
The Grell. The Grell, it was pretty much, it was supposed to be a crazy encounter, but it wasn't. You know why? Because it wasn't overwhelming. And the stat block they have for the Grell isn't like the one that they have for the fucking Frost Skeleton, which is stupid and unnecessarily unbalanced. The Grill is effective and at putting the scare into the characters, but also being able to, allow the characters to fight back necessary. It's just a good encounter. If you're going for, just classic base fight encounters. If you're going for I'm going for a fight encounter. This is a good example of a balanced one. And I like it. I like that one. It was a good monster and a good encounter. The kobolds weren't even the threat, it was really that. And once you're done with that, it's the Icewind Gale kobolds, and then the ghost that possessed the whole T-Rex thing, but and for some reason T-Rex is back to life again. I still have a fucking problem with that. It bothers the shit out of me. I don't understand how that works. But regardless, that's the only problem I actually have with Tourmaline. I think Tourmaline, even when it came to the design of the town itself and the mayor, not the mayor, like the speaker, I actually didn't mind him. I actually liked him. It was base bitch boy, but base bitch boy is good in Icewind Dale. You know why? Because there's not many good people here.
You sure about that?
I like Tourmaline. It was one of my favorites. And I think that's all 10 quests, or the 8 quests that we did.
Yeah.
Like I said, Targos is my favorite. Probably Tourmaline, and I did like Caer-Dineval a lot too. But other than that, the rest were just kind of like, it just didn't feel good. It didn't feel good to run. Caer-Conic and East Haven itself, East Haven alone makes it really hard to enjoy Chapter 1.
What do you mean?
Other than that, we're just moving to Chapter 2.
What do you mean, Caleb?
And like I said, the only thing that I would recommend doing is just give them level 2 at the rip, bro. Give them level 2 or level 3 at the rip. And then give them level 4 after a few quests. And then what I would do is give them an ultimatum. And let them know, hey, you won't be leveling up until Chapter 2. Do you want to continue to grind, quote unquote? Or do you want to help 10 times? But that's what Caleb would do. Run it the way you want to. That's how I'd improve it, though. It's small improvement, and there's more ways to do it, but that's how I feel. But we spent a lot of time on that. I think that was important to go over.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much that'll be a video in itself.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
now we're getting into the Chapter 2 prep. So Icewind Dale itself.
Oh my god, they have so many quests.
This is going to be, and this time we're going to be taking the time as DMs for the rest of the book, right? We're going to take the time as DMs to look at this stuff and balance it. And if there is like one of those scenarios, let's just say the scenario again, right? I know, I've seen that one too. Let's just say the scenario again. Okay, we're going to have these Duergar. The Duergar see you and they attack. That's not how we're going to play it. We're going to give them options. If there is no options available for them, it's our job as DMs to give them options. Do we have to balance it? We're going to, but it's not necessary. But we can give them options out of the encounters themselves. That's our job.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Running this chapter, basically Chapter 2, we don't even need to read this stuff to give you a base idea what Chapter 2 is. Chapter 2 is mostly these locations in Icewind Dale that are pretty much scattered about near 10 towns.
So it's not the 10 towns itself. We are exploring locations. Locations as in just random areas.
We already dealt with one of them.
Yeah,
unintentionally, which is still tilting, but
yeah, we did.
We actually didn't really even deal with it.
I mean,
We just escaped it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna blow my nose real quick. I'll be right back.
We lived it.
We'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, me.
some water. Okay. I'm back and he'll pop in a few seconds. As we're looking at Icewind Dale Chapter 2, we are, you can notice that they go over character advancement. We are ignoring that. The Icewind Dale as a book itself has already shown in Chapter 1 that they suck at character advancement. So instead of following the rules here, we're going off of what we believe should be leveling up. So if we feel like they did enough to reach Chapter 7, we're just going to say that as DMs, they reached Chapter 7 because everything else just doesn't make sense. The whole, like, after 2 or 3 game sessions, they exploring Icewind Dale, they gain a level. Well, I get an idea that might be okay. It's our job as DMs to run it the way that we want to run it. So the way that we are running it is when we deem it's okay for them to level up, and they've gone through enough shit, they level up. Simple. And then they go over the Tall Tales and Tin Towns. And then there's a lot that we could do here. We could give them these, right? But I feel like they actually did a good job here because ignore these. Ignore the D20s. If you look at the quests themselves, they actually give you like certain things that of how they would come across it in other ways. The one that we're going to particularly be looking at and the one I feel like we should run today, we could totally choose another one, that's fine. Where is it at? There's one for Bryn Shander. Not Bryn Shander. There's too many towns. Where is it? I know my brain's there, but like... No! Bremen. There's a Bremen one. So, let's look
Zero
here.
Rum?
Zero Rum. There it is. That's exactly what it is. Where'd you find that? Is it like top? Oh, there it is. Zero
Yeah.
One. So what we do is you just click the Dark Duchess, right? And then they basically give you. I know there was a way that they did that. Or desire to help Tavern Keeps or Bremen. Zero Rum. Oh, never mind. We are looking at them. When we're looking at these over here. Before we even get to the Dark Duchess, because the Dark Duchess is the quest. These are potential plots that you can already have placed in front of them without the rumors of how they would come across it. So Zero Rum, the tavern keepers of 5 tavern centers in Bremen, are bemoaning their dwindling supplies of ale and spirits, but they've heard rumors of pirate ships stuck in the ice of the coast. And where there's a pirate ship, there must be rum. The tavern keeps hire the characters to search the ship's hold and bring back any alcohol beverages they find. They offer a fair price of 150 gold, although the quest cannot be completed because the ship's crew left behind no rum or other alcohol beverage for the characters to pull in. They're not going to get it regardless. But it gets them over there. These are plot hooks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just sucks because they get no money.
It does suck.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
So we're going to look at Dark Duchess. I haven't looked at the quest, but I like that they put plot holes in here. And then we actually have a cheat sheet as well that we'll be looking at probably during in-game. But I don't know if it's going to help or not. Let's look at Dark Duchess before that.
Dark Duchess.
The ancient white dragon. How do you say that? Arbitrus. What?
Arbitress.
Arbitrus? Probably pronouncing that wrong, whatever. Has placed,
Arbitress? I don't know. I just call it Abby.
has placed some of her hoard in an abandoned ship called the Dark Duchess. This Luskan pirate vessel got stuck in the sea of moving ice some months ago, near where the dragon likes to fish and hunt. Having remained aboard the ice-bound hulk after being deserted by his crew, Captain Rudolph Blue Moon still watches over his riches even in death. The character who has the pirate cannibal secret might want to return to the site to claim Captain Blue Moon's treasure.
Oh, that's me.
Do you have that?
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Why are you hiding shit from the DM?
I think it would come up.
Oh my god. The characters might also be drawn to this site by a tall tale or a desire to help the tavern keeps a brimming. Let's just go with the latter. That's why I was mentioning desire to help the tavern keeps a brimming. This is the key thing. Bremen is like our huddle or like our main city out of all the main town of the 10 towns. So we focus on Bremen. We focus on Yarvel. Yarvel can easily want to do this and want to help out his town. It's not hard with that character. He's going to try to help out his town, and then he would reach the frozen shipwreck. Now, given what we are seeing and what we see here, we don't even know if it's worth doing. But it's something there. Do you want to keep doing that? I got to blow my nose real quick.
Yeah, you can blow your nose, bro. Yeah, so the ancient white dragon, Avi, has placed a horde in the abandoned ship called the Dark Duchess, the lusting pirate vessel from the sea-moving ice many months ago near the dragon's fishing hunt. Having remained aboard of the ice, still watches over their death. Pirate cannibal secrets, wanted to return the claim of the captain room, treasure, blah, blah, blah. Frozen shipwreck. The Dark Duchess is 100 yards from the shore, trapped in the thick ice. When the players get closer, they see this thingy. The hull rigged and the mast of the ship are covered in layers of ice. The water line for the vessel is 10 feet climb to get to the main deck. The sides of the hull are slippery and can't be climbed without using magic or climbing gear. The ice around the Dark Duchess is thick and no risk of the characters breaking through it. So, nobody has climbing gear or magic that can allow them to climb. So, it doesn't happen. Moving on. The players go back to town to buy fucking climbing gear because no one has it.
I mean, my character does.
Oh, just suddenly, huh? Spawns climbing gear.
No, I already had it.
Yep, right. When the players get within 15 feet of the ship, read this thing. An ice troll was chasing a herd of seals when it spotted the abandoned ship and crept across the ice to explore it. What?
I don't get that.
The ice troll with -2 intelligence?
Look at that calm, bro.
Yeah, no, big.
Oh!
Big swole. No, that thing's beefy. It's
Fucking +6,
it's a
bro.
CR8. It's a CR8.
God damn, bro. What the fuck?
Hoping to find something tasty inside. It spooked some kobolds that were also in the hold. Chased them into a cabin. The kobolds were able to barricade the door. The troll's trying to break in to get to them. Characters can surprise the troll if they remain quiet on the way to the ship's hold. Climbing onto the ship and moving without alerting the troll requires a very low stealth check. If the players fail the stealth check, if a character,
Oh, damn.
that's one. That
Because they
needs to
couldn't have made it a
listen.
group check, bro.
No, they decided not to.
Okay.
The troll hears the character's footsteps and the creaking of the deck and realizes there's an easier meal to be had.
Okay. There's that. That's
I
even
mean, they're
before.
not wrong.
That's
in that.
approaching the ship.
I think that they're not wrong with that because due to the fact of the nature of the
Yeah.
game that we're
yeah.
playing.
Yeah. I just, yeah. Sure.
But then again, we're
That's
changing.
approaching the ship. That's
No.
not even the ship itself, first
No,
of
they're
all.
climbing on top of the ship because the players can hear the footsteps creaking on the deck.
Oh.
Yeah, so they're already on the ship.
No,
when
so
it
that's just
happens.
one fucking thing that's happening
Yeah.
so far.
That's
Okay.
just the beginning.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's just the beginning. On the main deck, since you do locations and whatnot, the ceilings of the lower deck hang 10 feet high, and all the doors are 7 feet tall and made of sturdy wood. You read this thing. To reach the hold, the frickin' dragon had to break apart the large portion of the deck, creating a gaping hole. A character who examines the marks The whole can tell the surprise that it was an enormous creature that did all the damage, even though it's probably very easy, you know. But if they succeed by 5 or more, they can tell that it was Dragon. Entering the captain's hole, the door is covered with a thick layer of ice. The characters need to remove, if they want to get inside, using a miner's pick or simple tool. Once again, things we do not have. You gotta go back and buy it, because no one has that unless they melt it with magic. A character can chip away at the ice and breaking it after 1 hour.
This is why you have to adjust it to make sense for us.
But I'm just reading it. This is,
yeah.
The more characters help, the more quickly the ice is removed. The noise is loud enough to attract the ice troll, which you have to do this to get inside the captain's cabin.
So basically, what they're saying is, no
you
matter
have to
what,
fight
you deal
the
with
troll
the ice
no
troll.
matter what.
Okay.
If the characters melt away the shit using fire, doing so takes twice as much time.
Fuck that. Fuck you for that. No, that makes no sense. No, I don't like that. But doesn't attract the troll. No, you can't do that. You can't just waste our time like that.
Wasting time. You're literally
Fucking
just
wasting
wasting
our time. No, that's stupid. That makes no sense. Moving on. We'll figure that out later. Forecastle.
Yeah, D2, the forecastle. I'm just going to read this because of what's coming up next. Deep grooves have been gouged in the deck of the forecastle. The railing of the port side of the vessel is broken and slightly bowed, as if an immense weight has been resting on top of it. When the dragon climbed on top of the Duchess, she does from the forecastle, examining the deck, reveals that the dragon's weight has pushed down and cracked the wooden planks and gunwales in many places. Aft castle. Ice coats the captain's wheel and there's nothing of interest there. Surgeon's cabin. The surgeon's cabin have been searching the kobolds living in the Dark Duchess, but they overlook some items that might be of interest to the characters that are the bed of 3 vials, the antitoxin healer's kit, and vial of holy water?
Sure.
The captain on a ship needs a vial of holy water,
Sure.
maybe he's religious. First mate's
Could be.
cabin. Frost-covered bed is shoved in the corner of the wooden staircase. The rest of the cabin is empty.
Wasting time. D6 chart room.
This room contains 2 useful maps, a 6-foot wide, 6-foot tall map, the Sword Coast, hanging on the wall, and a map of Icewind stored in the map that lays on the floor. The searching through the thingy reveals the navigator's tools, which is amazing.
Wow.
And,
So cool.
storage. Non-prehensible goods were stored inside the cabin. The crew took a lot of the supplies and they abandoned the ship. But some equipment remains. The ropes that are nets are salvageable and are the contents of the barrels. The characters must use a crowbar or similar tools to pry open the frozen barrel.
Wow.
The first barrel has a hooded lantern, 3 flasks of oil, 5 bars of lime soap, 3 sets of medicals, and the second holds 10 torches.
You know how we fix that? We just say, when they try to open it, we're just going to give them a check, and after that check, they're done. That's how you fucking fix that. You don't have to go through, I have this tool, I have this tool, I have this tool. Let them use their fucking creativity. No, you have to use this.
Why can't they just knock it over and since it's frozen, they use the impact to shatter it?
You have to use a crowbar. You
Yes.
have to.
You have to. Captain's cabin. The kobolds have not set foot inside the cabin. In fact, none of them are there since the crew's abandoned. None has been there since the crew abandoned ship. The corpses is all that remains of Captain Rudolph Blumen. Man, Captain, oh Captain, my Captain, who stayed behind to watch over the ship and is still ill-gotten booty. He ran out of provisions and starved before freezing to death. Affixed to the captain's hat is a badge that forms a curious symbol. A red eel wrapped in a gold trinket. Characters who succeed in a DC 15 intelligence / history check recognize that the symbol is a ship Surjak, a powerful faction in the Luskin that engages in piracy. Captain Blue Moon was a member of this faction. In the captain's jacket pocket, the players find a key of its head fashioned in the form of a rat skull. This key unlocks the captain's chest. She turns to roll. The wine bottles that have been labeled to read Sweet Berry Summer Wine. The bottles. The bottle corks are not seen through the characters. Can they use them to see each other's characters? Journal. Mr. Blue Moon's Chronicles, a journey that exploits a dark Duchess, but says little more the man in charge. A character who succeeds on the history check knows the story of or two about Captain Blue Moon. This is a great opportunity to allow the characters to make up credible story. Okay, that's kind of cool. If the players accept the challenge, award an inspiration to the player's character. It's the only time they ever mention inspiration at all. Okay. Anyways, the character also recalls that Captain Blue Moon was cruel, cunning individual who ruled the ship and bared instead of respect. He had many enemies and few friends. And he has a journal entry. That damn white dragon is back, circling me like a vulture. I reckon she should carry this shit back to the Luskin, where she mine to die from starvation, bitter cold, or a dragon. Choices. Treasure. The chest is frozen shut before the key can be used to unlock it. The characters must scrape off the ice and frost to take 10 minutes. They can also use a torch and other sources to heat the melt at the same amount of time. Inside the chest is a wooden partition that divides the interior of two halves. One side of the empty, except for a frozen wine-stained cork. This is where they keep the bottle kept together in a while. They're aside from 150 gold, which they still get.
Yeah, they're just not. They basically just say they're not getting it from the guy, you're getting it from the horde.
Same thing, same difference.
It's just fucking the same.
520 silver pieces, a small gold bracelet, 25 gold pieces, a large gold bracelet weighing in at 250 gold pieces, which no one can afford.
Oh, we're doing good today, man. How are you, bud?
And a gray bag of tricks. Ooh, bag of tricks is pretty cool.
I'll take over if you want to look at that.
The what?
Do the chat thing if you look
Okay.
at it. So, where did you look? The bag of tricks? The gray bag of tricks. Gray bag of tricks.
Yes, it's a gray one.
My confusion here, right, is in the hold, the D9. Is that another ice troll? You just put it 2 ice trolls, or is it the same ice troll?
No, it's the same restaurant.
It's the same one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh god.
Yeah, bro. What the fuck are you doing? Unless the characters lures it elsewhere. Oh, it's the same one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Stands at the bottom of the wooden stairs leading down from the main stack. It is trying to claw through the door that leads to area D12. The troll cannot be reasoned with. Once again, these ultimatums that they are not giving us. It would be nice if you at least gave them at least one option. Nope. It doesn't want to be reasoned with. Screw you, bro. After disposing of it, the characters can survey the contents of the hold. The ship's hold contains heaps of snow and 4 tied down jolly boats covered with rime. In the forward starboard corner rests a large pile of treasure covered with ice, standing next to the horde, frozen with its maw open in a roar, is a white, feline creature. She did nice. Yeah, he's probably not even watching anymore. Who knows?
Yeah.
The creature frozen next to the treasure pile is a crabcat that was killed by the dragon's weapon and placed here as a trophy. Okay, so Jones was placed as a trophy. So basically, you know, even with like looking at this, I just need to see something, right? Because that I'm looking at 4 layers here, and the 4 layers scare me. I'm going to see if what I got spoiled with is the truth. Yep, it actually happens.
Oh, what are you talking? Sorry.
Okay, so let's ignore. We'll come. You good?
What? What?
Don't even look at that right now, right?
What?
Don't even look at that.
What? Yeah, no, clearly.
So we'll go back to D9 and look at that in a second. But I want you to go down to all the way into the dragon's arrives, whose vision is hampered, carries the body of her former master, the wizard, in a saddle on her back. There is literally a picture of that. It's kind of dope, guys. The dragon is out hunting when the characters first arrive, but she checks the ship regularly to make sure her hoard is undisturbed. At the end of each hour the characters spend in the Dark Duchess, there is a 20% chance that the dragon returns.
Makes sense.
It does, but she can see only out to a range of 60 feet. The dragon must get close to the ship to examine it. But the point it being is, they might have to fight her.
No, that's the point, isn't it?
Look at the fucking at her stopwatch.
It's deadly.
No, don't even look at that. Look at the CR. Look at the CR of the. You know what? I'll just pull up the thingy. Look at the CR. CR20.
No. Gargantuan.
It's a CR20 dragon.
Good luck.
You just want us to kill him.
No.
This is all you want. You just want us, even in the simplest, just like, let's try and make a cool quest out of this. No, let's have the dragon just plop down and potentially kill you. No options. Actually, there might be options. Let's look. Over the howling wind, you hear the flapping of titanic winds. Follow. That's what you read. Ignoring the text, obviously that's meant for dramatic undertone. The characters hide and don't make a lot of noise. It will climb aboard the vessel from the forecastle and begin to make her way towards the hold. No matter where the characters are on the ship, the dragon, they hear the dragon aboard it, as her massive form makes the entire vessel shake and the ice around it crack. The dragon notices the characters. She immediately says to the writer on the back, "We know how to deal with thieves, don't we?" She then attacks. Here we go. There's that option that's non-existent. And she doesn't notice the characters. Actually, no. I mean, I guess this is weirdly an option. No, it's not. If she doesn't notice the characters, either she notices them or they don't. She makes her way to her hold, expects the hold to make sure nothing is out of place, and leaves the ship to find and eat another tasty walrus. If she sees that the hoard has been disturbed, the dragon looks around the ship to see if thieves left tracks and then follows any she finds.
So I'm confused because there's a dissonance. Yeah,
there's a disconnect
so
between her vision.
No, carries the body of the former master.
Yeah, it's dead.
But he's alive.
No, he's not.
Yeah. Okay. Look, she calls out to Mithril to ready his spells.
She's just saying it. She's fucking mad. She's crazy. She's losing her mind.
So this.
That's all it is. It's the dragon's losing her mind. The character's dead. The wizard is dead. There's no way that the spells are gonna come. She doesn't need it.
Yeah. So
she's just saying it.
She's crazy.
She's an insane dragon. That's the concept. It's actually not a terrible concept there. I will say that much.
Crazy dragon.
That's exactly what we need. An insane dragon.
So
the characters are no match for the dragon. No fucking shit.
Yeah.
If they need a distraction to facilitate their escape, the corpse could fall out of its saddle. Okay, that's weirdly giving an option, I guess. This causes the dragon to break off her attack at once and check to make sure the dead wizard is undamaged. The dragon can't put the corpse back on its saddle without help. If there are any kobolds nearby, they will assist because they don't want to die. Promises to spare... that's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. That fucking thing will kill her. Kill them if they don't. Promises to spare the characters' lives if the thing promises to spare their lives if they lend a helping hand. But that's only in that weird circumstance, potential circumstance, not really going to happen circumstance.
Well, I mean, we could just, once again, since we're running it, we just say, oh, it falls off.
You know, if it turns into that scenario, we're going to
Yeah.
make sure that we don't just go, you die. Thanks for coming, guys.
She breathes on you, and you literally freeze to death. That's what happens next.
If the characters are unable to stand against or escape the dragon, help arrives in the form of a Verbig Longstrider who lives in a seaside cave about a mile away. Okay? It avoids the Dark Duchess because she knows the White Worm frequents it. If the characters accept her offer, it uses Fog Cloud to obscure them, then tries to lead everyone beyond the range without. That's a nice guy.
Wait,
Oh.
so are all the Verbies neutral?
I don't know. The
Really?
one that we were looking at was not.
What?
It was evil.
Why is this one neutral? It's
I
still
don't
the same race.
No, because the other one was a Verbig, right? This is a Verbig Longstrider.
Oh, I forgot. You add the word Longstrider.
It makes
sense.
him different. Makes him
What?
different.
Team John.
This thing worships Sylvanas, god of nature, and has no agenda. She tries to be helpful while asking for nothing in return, and she carries nothing of value. Although she has no interest in becoming a member of the party, Ting John is willing to accompany the characters to Oriel's Island if their aim is to confront the Frostmaiden and end her everlasting winter, claiming that that's what
Wait, they just say,
Sylvanas would want her to do.
they just say, let's go to last chapter.
If that's the case, right, we're leveling them up immediately to what they need. It's not the last chapter, because weirdly enough, the island's not the last chapter.
I know, but I mean, that's the end game. That's the end game goal, like, for the players.
We would be leveling them up if they go that way.
That doesn't even...
I don't even care what the book says. I don't even care. I'm not putting them in that fucked up situation immediately.
But why is that the thing? Why is that the thing that happens next?
I don't fucking know, man. Why is there a dragon chasing them for no fucking reason?
Because you disturbed her horde. That makes sense.
Sort of. Is it her horde? It's not. Really?
Yeah, it is. She thinks it is. It's crazy.
There you go. I guess that part makes sense. I mean, if you say something's crazy, there you go.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
There you go. It's crazy. So
The other one that I think is going to be really cool and potentially, which would spark interest, is go to the ID one, which is the next one, the ID Ascendant. Which one? I think it's Distress Signal, which is something I think that we can give Yarvel. The characters are approached by 4 what the fuck is that word?
Sorry, where are we looking at?
Go to the Distress Signal.
Oh.
Click Distress Signal. What's that word? Psychically? Is that what it's?
Sensitively sensitive, yeah.
Psychically sensitive Tin-Towners who have been kept awake by telepathic distress signals that it seems only they can hear. They were drawn together by this common experience. They don't understand the message, which is in deep speech, but know the direction it's coming from. They offer the characters 250 gold pieces to investigate the source of the signal and silence it, if only so they can get a good night's rest. These Tin-Towners are briefly described below. So you describe them, and then, just being the fact that Yarvel's Yarvel, he would be interested in this. So we would just immediately go to, their eyes are in weird places. So one literally goes the other direction. It's cool. But it's a condition.
It's
a condition.
interesting that they just said that they got that.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's vivid.
Yeah, definitely.
ID Ascendant, stories about a comet crashing in the mountains, or a quest concerning telepathic message might bring adventurers to this location as might a character's
You might just avoid that completely.
Yeah, he might actually, right? He hates them.
Yeah.
But he once again said that he wants to destroy them. We'll have to ask him.
Sure. Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he said he wants to destroy them.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
So
I mean, at first, when he destroyed the thing, he destroyed the side crystal initially.
yeah.
Yeah.
Either way,
Exactly.
he hates them. So there's a reason for him to want to fuck them up. A nautiloid called the ID Ascendant, while trying to fly it through a blizzard. It's a mind flare ship. The ship's co-captains, Voyern and Drudevex, are chaotic neutral gnome ceramorphs. What's going on? Which are smaller than normal mind flares. Spawned from gnome hosts. There we go. There's the meme. Their crew consists of 3 gnome squidlings named Rin, Rix, and Zargrid. See the mind flares interested in the appendix C.
My name is Zaglord. Kill it! Kill it! Kill it! Kill it! Kill it! Kill it!
It's literally just gnomes. It's the gnome.
The squid gnomes, yeah. The
Squid gnomes.
The mind flayer gnomes.
Gnome ceremonies. Yep. The little
So cute.
it's literally just a meme.
So cute.
But
They're
they're there. The illithids are stuck unless they can find a psi crystal to jumpstart the ship's propulsion systems. Vorin and Judevex are expending considerable effort to keep their ship functional and thus cannot conduct the search themselves. They also can't trust the moronic squidlings to approach such a delicate task.
Yeah, stupid heads.
For these reasons, the gnome ceramorphs need help. They have built a device that can detect the presence of psi crystals in a 5-mile radius, but haven't found any.
It's a good thing they actually destroyed it then.
The character might have,
Because they would be found out immediately.
that was really great. The characters might have harvested a psi crystal from the gem mine near
Exactly.
Hermaline,
Exactly.
in which the case, the gnome ceramorphs would be very interested in
they
acquiring
would.
it.
Yes, they would.
Oh my god, so literally instead of that, we can literally just make it that these things are probing in his fucking brain, asking him where he is.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, literally. That's such a Prince thing to do. Oh my god.
Hey, buddy, what's up?
Give him little gnome mind flares, and he's in his comfort zone.
My other man.
Complicated Matters is the damage done by the crash. This is really cool, by the way. I like this quest. It's the Nautiloid's life support system. For once, okay, we already read this, didn't I? No, I didn't. For once the system shuts down, the illithids are at risk of freezing to death. The shutdown occurs before they acquire a psi crystal. The gnome ceramorphs backup plan to activate the Nautiloid self-destruct system before abandoning ship and making their way towards Sin Towns with the gnome squidlings in tow. The fucking mind flayers and the mind flayers are trying to make their way to Tin Towns if they don't get one.
This is, I'm telling you, it makes more sense for them to invade fucking towns. That's what, whatever.
Yeah, it would make more
It
sense
just
for them to
makes
do
sense.
that. It would make sense for one of them to actually have them already infiltrating and have one of the leaders be one in disguise. But then again, maybe we're overthinking things.
Could be.
Okay, role playing the Seraphorms. I don't think we need a man. We don't need to worry about that. I think he's already got that handled. We don't have to worry about role playing. We don't need to worry about the role play squidlings. I think he's got that handled. The telepathic distress signal. After the ID Ascendant crashed, the gnome ceramorphs activated a distress signal meant to be heard only by creatures that have telepathy, including any characters who was attuned to the psi crystal found in the gem mine outside Tourmaline. No one did. They destroyed it.
Yep.
The signal's technology hasn't been perfected yet, such that non-telepathic creatures have been known to pick up the signal as well. You get to decide whether a non-telepathic creature can sense the signal or not. He would. Oh my
He
god.
would, because
That's
he's
just
connected.
Yep, the psionic transmitter
That's his background.
broadcasts on an endless loop until Vorin or Dredevex decides to shut it off, or until the transmitter is disabled or destroyed. The signal has a range of 50 miles. Those lucky few can detect it and set out of the source, can feel it guiding them. God, Dude, that guy's been like going crazy recently.
He
Toward
was.
the downed nautiloid. The signal is a sequence of words in deep speech with a buzzing undertone. Any creature that understands deep speech and is sensitive to the signal can translate the message. Nautiloid down. Emergency protocols enabled. Crew safe, but vessels imperiled. Side crystal needed. Come at once.
Please. Please.
If you want to continue, I'm going to go blow my nose again.
Yeah, go ahead. As the ships came down, it dug a furrow through a snowy valley before skidding to a stop. Its construction is partly organic. The tentacles protruding from the ship's bow are coated in mucus that remains sticky even extreme colds. The ship's interior is a mess. Walls are crusted with patches of flaky plaque. The floor is splattered with sticky blots of inky black substance that course through the ship's vanes. Equipment is scattered everywhere, both from the impact of the crash and because of the subsequent repair work. Approaching the Nautiloid. Two carrion crawlers, which are powerful enough themselves. Avorian's trained pets scuttle through the snow near the ship. Characters with a passive wisdom perception scores of 11 or higher are not surprised when the creature's attack. Characters paralyzed with the crawler's tentacles are dragged out towards the Nautiloid. The crawler's intent is not to eat the creatures, but to deliver them to Voyeur for questioning. Nautiloid features. The Nautiloid has the following features. Biological construction. The ship is built of organic material in addition to wood and iron. Walls, floors, and ceilings are reinforced with tough chittings. Canted deck. The ship's tipped from the south at a slight angle, not enough to hinder movement aboard the vessel, but enough to cause certain objects and liquids on the floor to roll towards the port side of the ship. Ceilings are 20 feet high unless otherwise noted. Illumination. All the areas on the ship are dimly lit by fleshy, flickering bioluminescent orbs mounted on the walls or hanging from the ceiling. Interior doors. Each interior door abandoned by the ship is a fleshy sphincter that opens when a creature that has telepathy approaches with it within 5 feet of it. Then it quickly closes behind the creature as its companions keep the heat in. A door must otherwise be pried or tickled open. Tickling a sphincter, a fleshy sphincter. That's what it says, man. That's what it says. Which requires an action, though. Life support, very important. The failing life support system is keeping the ship's interior tension at 50 degrees Fahrenheit or 10 degrees Celsius. The system gives out completely 224 hours after the characters arrive, unless they do something about it, at which the temperature begins to fall to 10 degrees Fahrenheit per hour until it matches the temperature outside. Okay. Nautiloid locations. The forward deck, double door, is ice shut, but not locked. The creature can use an action to try to wrench open the doors. Doing so requires a successful DC 14 athletics check. The noise is loud enough to alert creatures in the next area. Ballista. This weapon is incorporeal since the crash. Inoperable. Great. I guess it's a cool addition. Oh, there's a ballista there. Can't use it. makes sense. The cargo hold. There are 3 gnome swidlings, Rin, Rex, and Ziglard are supposed to be cleaning up the cargo hold, but are just pushing junk around and annoying Dreadex, their flesh king golem. King fresh golem. They're annoying a flesh golem, like, you stupid flesh golem. You stupid big non-ceremorph gnome. Unless one of the gnome ceremorphs is leading the party through the cargo hole, the flesh golem tries to beat the characters unconscious. The squidlings are compelled to try to devour the brains of the unconscious characters, avoiding combat otherwise. The heavy chains and manacles once held a pair of carrion crawlers and a bullet, all of which the gnome ceremorphs released after the crash. The characters met the carrion crawlers on the way to the ship. They meet the bullet shortly after they leave. See Bulletproof. I love the name of that. It's so stupidly funny. The stairways leading up to the battle deck. The characters who examine the cargo containers find 2 barrels of lubricant. Yes! 2 barrels of fucking lubricant, dude.
Fuck up. You kidding me?
Yo, what they're saying. Okay, so there's squidlings that have a flesh golem. If the gnomes aren't leading us, the flesh golem tries to beat us unconscious, which then the squidling tries to devour our brains.
Where's that at? Okay, right here?
Yep.
Where's that at?
Cargo, we're up to the ship.
Well, I haven't been able to show them that, so there you go.
That's why I'm reading everything aloud for them. They get to hear my sweet, tangible voice. Ooh wee, ooh. They hear my ooh voice and whatnot. Ba 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 ba.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, yeah. And apparently they had 2 carrion crawlers and a bullet, and of course, the mission for it is called Bulletproof.
Why?
Because it has to be punny. This is a Chris thing.
This is so fucking Chris. And I think this is what we might be doing today.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is just where the route is going.
The stairways lead up to a battle deck. The characters examine the cargoes, find 2 barrels of the lubricant, 2 barrels of a pink slurry made from humanoid brains,
That's cool.
a crate of machine parts, a crate of weapons,
That's cool, bro.
and 3 crates that the gnome squidlings live in. They live in crates. I guess they're small and
See, this
they're
is
cute.
too memey. I don't like the meminess.
I don't know what you're talking about. Get ready to see the treasures. Development. Sounds of the combat here attract Dreadox, who arrives in 2 rounds to squish them. If any squidlings have died, Dreadox telepathically summons.
I don't even know where you are. In 8?
Variant. I'm sorry.
Where are you at?
In 2.
Oh,
This
God.
is just the beginning, Caleb. This is just the beginning.
This is crazy, yo. I'm gonna
This
have.
is just the beginning.
Yeah, yeah. You're gonna be DMing. I'm gonna play the Duragard guy.
If any squidlings have died, Dreadex telepathically summons Varin. Telepathically summons the flesh golem.
It's fucked up, bro.
The flesh golem that has -2 intelligence
Yep.
summons telepathically
That's fucked
Varin and tries to kill the party. Otherwise, Dreadex calls off the golem and attempts to defuse the situation and clear up the misunderstanding. One of the crates contained not 1,
The 6 lane.
not 2, not 3, but 6 laser rifles.
I'm going to use the laser rifle. That's a fuck no.
It's up to you to decide whether the character has a proficiency with the firearm.
I know I don't. Actually, I might.
If you know how to use a crossbow, you know how to use a laser
Yeah,
rifle.
I do know how to use a crossbow.
There you go.
That's
how
what
that's-
Duragards are good at.
That's how I would placate that. Okay. Yeah. 3 of the rifles have been partially dismantled and are non-functional.
Oh.
And the other 3 are intact, and each of them contain an energy cell that allows the rifle to be fired up to 30 times. An energy cell cannot be recharged. Figuring out how to fire and reload a rifle requires 2 successful intelligence checks. 1 to figure out how to fire it, and another to figure out how to load. Each character makes checks. Compare the check to the result of finding out alien technology in the Dungeon Master's Guide. Cryogenic stasis pods. Each of the 4 rooms contain 5-foot-meter crimson, semi-translucent crystal spheres in a low stand. A door on the side of each sphere opens when a creature that has telepathy crosses it. With 5 feet, half of the door swings upwards and the other half swings down to form a ramp. Each sphere of this cryogenic stasis pods designed to keep a gnome ceramorph or a gnome squidling alive and healthy on a long voyage. The pods are non-functional unless the power core is fixed, which is beyond the ceramorph's capability. The bottle deck. There is a ballista. This marvel of the gnomish over-engineering is still operational. Dials, knobs, and levers festoons the gunner's station,
So
which
mean.
comes from firing instructions written in Qualith.
So what we'll do, right? We'll stop doing this
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we already know this is probably where we're going today, right? This just makes sense to start off. Yeah, it just fits too well with a character that I feel like deserves a little bit, you know. After all the crap that Yarvel has gone through, I think that a quest that's kind of fitting his direction is necessary. And ID Ascendant is probably where we're going. And we'll have the Dark Duchess as a backup just in case. So these are the 2 quests we're looking at. Instead of reading more into it, right? Which we could do. We're just going to play it by what we feel is right. Like I said, we're the DMs, and after the first chapter where I was dead set on playing it by the book, which I did. We're off that train and going back onto our normal reins. We're playing it to what makes sense to our brains. If things say certain things, we're going with other things. If it doesn't make sense to us, it doesn't make sense to us, and we choose not to do it. That's what we're gonna do. We're working on character development. We're working on our characters. These are gonna be our official characters when we go in today. We got around 25 minutes, so we do have to cut it a little short. Mostly because we need to make sure that everybody's getting ready and prepped. We need to get there around 4 o'clock for an hour early, and then we'll move forward. Thank you guys for watching, and see you out in Icewind.